How many times have you raised your eyes to the sky, silently whispering a request, as if sending a letter into nowhere, only to hear silence in return? You poured your heart, emotions, and hope into it, but in response, there was only the hum of silence. It seemed as if everything you asked for was lost in infinity. And then the question arises, the one that doesn't let you rest. Maybe I'm just doing this wrong? Maybe there's some invisible setting I haven't considered? The answer, as often happens, is not on the surface, but it exists. Yes, there is a way in which your request becomes not just a voice in the void, but an impulse that the universe simply cannot ignore. And when you begin to apply it, it truly looks like magic, even though everything is deeply logical and connected to the nature of reality itself. It all begins with the realization that reality is not a rigid, external frame in which you have randomly found yourself, but a living fabric that responds to your inner wave. Every glance, every feeling, every thought, it's energy, and it moves the world. Jacob Grenberg, a person who researched this topic on the edge of science and mysticism, spoke about the neural matrix as the interface between consciousness and reality. And it is precisely through it that you interact with everything that exists. Simply put, your inner world is inseparable from the outer one. You are not an observer, you are a co-author. But in order to write your part of the story, you need to know the language of this universe. And it's not in words, it's in vibrations. What you feel right now is your request to reality. You can say you want love, but if inside there is anxiety, loneliness, and doubt, that is the true command you are sending. And the universe, like a precise mechanism, simply responds. It doesn't judge, it doesn't filter, it resonates. That's why it's not so important what you ask for in words. What matters is what you are filled with while asking. That's the essence. When I began working with this understanding, everything changed. The first thing I did was completely rethink how I visualize my desires. I stopped looking at my dreams as if they were a movie in which I am not the main character. Instead, I took a step into the picture. I didn't just imagine what I wanted. I experienced it with my whole body. I felt the texture, the smell, the taste, the movement, the emotions. It wasn't just imagining, it was immersing myself. Multisensory visualization changed not just my thoughts, but my inner state, which in turn changed my vibration. I remember visualizing the job I had dreamed of. It wasn't just imagination. It was a full symphony of sensations. Steps in the morning city, fresh coffee, colleagues' greetings, even the light falling on the table. But the most important thing was that I felt a deep, almost physical feeling inside. It was already mine. In that state, there was no room for doubt. It wasn't a request, it was a statement. And literally, within a couple of weeks, I received a call with an offer that perfectly matched this image. I wasn't looking for it. It found me. It was like a click. The vibration aligned with what I had created inside. But there's another thing to understand. The universe doesn't respond to haste. It hears intention, not tension. When you ask with desperation, you transmit, "I don't believe this is possible," and that becomes your reality. So, the second key for me was relaxation. Not in the sense of stopping wanting, but in the sense of stopping clinging. I started trusting. I became like a gardener. I planted the seed and continued living, knowing it would grow. This trust is also a very powerful vibration because it carries acceptance. And acceptance is a portal for manifestation. The third thing I learned was gratitude. Not just after the desire has been fulfilled, but as an awareness. If I can feel it, it already exists somewhere in potential reality. My task is to bring myself closer to it. Therefore, I started thanking in advance, not for a specific event, but for the very feeling of connection with the flow. This gratitude is like a magnet. It opens space for more. You become not the one who asks, but the co-creator. When you combine visualization, trust, and gratitude, you become antennas, tuning into the resonance of what you want. There's no need to shout at the sky, no need to repeat affirmations hundreds of times. You just need to be in that state, right here and now. And then the universe won't just hear you, it will respond, because you've become a part of it. If you feel that this resonates with you, it's not a coincidence. It means you are ready to stop being just an observer of your life and start creating it from within. Start small, catch your vibrations, observe them, and adjust them. Allow yourself not just to want, but to be. You can read about it 1,000 times. Listen to others about how they change their reality, but until you truly start to feel everything you want as already accomplished, nothing will shift. Just imagining is not enough. Mechanical visualization is like watching a movie without sound and color. You see the picture, but it doesn't resonate. The universe doesn't respond to dry images. It responds to energy, to emotions, to the vibration that comes from your inner state. It's not just imagine the house or imagine love. It's immerse yourself in it as if you already live there. Everything changes when you start experiencing your desire in your body as if it's already part of your reality. Not somewhere later, not in some vague someday, but right here, right now. What do you feel if your dream has already come true? Not just joy, but gratitude, inner peace, satisfaction. It's like you stop searching because there's nothing left to find. This feeling is the vibration that the universe perceives. It doesn't hear words. It detects frequencies. I remember a case when I desperately wanted to travel to a country I had dreamed about since childhood. There was no clear plan, no savings, no defined route. There was only a strong inner, yes, it's going to happen. I closed my eyes and began to build this journey in my imagination, not as a dream, but as a memory from the future. I saw every detail: the zipper on my suitcase, the coolness in the airport, the stewardess's voice, the soft airplane seat, the light pressure in my ears during takeoff, the wind on my face as I left the hotel, the noise of the streets, the smell of local food, the touch of the sun on my skin. And all of this with deep gratitude, as if I was already there. I didn't just say thank you, I felt it with my whole body, as for something already received. And the most amazing thing was that soon, strange coincidences started to happen. A friend accidentally sent me a link to a promotion for tickets. Another friend said I could stay with his acquaintance. A third offered to help with the documents. Everything that seemed like problems scattered like dust, and the puzzle came together on its own. When I arrived in that place, I didn't feel the excitement of a newcomer. I felt recognition, as if I had already been there. Because, in a sense, I had been in the inner world, in the inner reality, which simply became external. I realized then that the universe doesn't just fulfill desires, it responds to your state. And state is not just thoughts. It's a deep, almost cellular conviction that it's already mine. You live in the future, but not with hope, but with certainty. That's the difference. Everything changes when you experience that desire as truth. It begins to live its own life. It finds ways to manifest. And from that moment on, I stopped asking and started creating. Every time I want something new, whether it's relationships, a project, inspiration, or health, I don't chase it. I enter it. I feel it. I observe how it unfolds within me. And what's amazing is that you start acting differently, not out of need, but from fullness. You no longer wait for confirmations. You radiate them. Imagine you want a new home. Don't just look at the picture in your head. Step into it in your imagination. Feel how you walk on the floor barefoot. Feel its coolness, how the coffee you brew smells, how the soft light streams through the curtains, how you sit on the couch, touch the armrest, hear the dishes clinking in the sink. This isn't just imagination, it's an invitation. You open the door for this reality to enter. When you create such inner pictures with full emotional involvement, it becomes not just a spiritual practice, but an incredibly powerful tool of transformation. You become the one who doesn't wait for miracles, but creates them. This is the energy of manifestation. This is what Jacob Grenberg described as the formation of an alternative reality that then becomes your physical one. And this is not magic. It's a law of nature. It's just that we've been too long disconnected from it. You're a channel, a conduit. And if you're clear, if you're in harmony, if you don't doubt, the flow starts flowing with such force that it begins to change not only your life, but everything around you. The key is not to try to control how or when. That's not your task. Your task is to be in that state that aligns with your desire. Be so bright and full that the universe simply mirrors you, and then you won't be surprised when it happens. You'll just say to yourself, I knew it. It was already inside me.